Here we go, guys. They circled the first whole number for us, so there's the underline. Sorry, they underlined it. So the next number is a 7, which means we round this number up. So we add 1 to it. So this is just going to round to 6. Now, the whole thing about turning everything into a 0 afterwards, we don't need to worry about when it's a decimal there. We can just round to the nearest number like that. Okay? So we're going to underline the whole number, which is always to the left of the dot. If there's no dot, it's always the furthest number on the right. So this one to 6 next, so we go up with this, it's going to be 3. Next one here, we're going to underline the whole number. The next number is a 7, so we're going to add 1 to the 2. We're going to get 13. Okay, the whole number place is the 0. The next number is a 4. That means that the underlined number stays the same. So we get 0. Underline there. Next number is a 0. So that means that 0 stays the same. And it's just 0 again. Underline the 9. That's the whole number. The next one's a 7. So, Chris, what do? We add 1 to the 9. It's at 79. If we add 1 to that, we get to 80. Okay? Next one, we're going to round to the nearest 10. And it's underlined the tens column. So the tens column is the second one from the right. So there's the tens column. It's the 3. We look to the next number. There's a 4. So it's going to stay the same. We got 30. Just 30. Okay? Going to underline the 6. The next number is a 2. That means our underlined number stays a 6. And everything after it turns into a 0. I'm going to underline the 0 here. Okay? The next number is a 9. So that means we add 1 to the underlined number. So that underlined number, 0 plus 1 is 1. I copy down everything to the left. That's a 1. I make everything to the right into a 0. So we've gone from 109 to 110. Okay? Next one, we got 237. I'm going to underline that 3. The next number is a 7. That 7 tells me I have to add 1 to the 3. And I'm going to get 4. I'm going to copy down the 2. I'm going to turn the 7 into a 0. Underline the 6. So we're still doing tens here. The next number is a 6. That 6 tells us to add 1 to our underlined number. So it becomes a 7. Copy down the 4, copy down the 2, make that first thing into a 0. So we've gone from 2,466 to 2,470. Okay. Underline the 5. The next number is a 4. That 4 says 5 needs to stay the same. So we copy that. We copy the 3. We copy the 2. And we copy the 3. And that 4 goes down to 0. So it's gone from the last part, 54, down to 50. So it did go down. Okay. Nearest 100. That is the 1, 2, right here. Okay, it's the third number from the right. So the next number after that's a 6. That means we add 1 to that 2, we get a 3. Everything to the right of that number now becomes a 0. 0, 0, 300. Okay. There's no 100 column here. So we're going to underline the blank space right here, which if it's a blank space, it technically has...
All second floor teachers, please place your recycle bins outside of your classroom. That's all second floor teachers. Please place your recycle bins outside your classroom. Thank you.
Sorry, world of YouTube. That happens every day. So the next number is a 4. So that means our underlined number stays the same. And it turns into a 0. Okay. Next we're going to underline the 100 column again. There's nothing in it. It's a 0. The next number is a 5, so we have to add 1 to our underlined number, so it's going to be 100. Oh look, they started underlining for us again. The next number is a 4, so that means our underlined number stays the same. 6. Copy the 2. Make everything else a 0. I'm going to underline the 9. The number after it is a 5, that means we have to add 1 to the underlined number. So if I add 1 to this, it becomes 10. So I'm going to put a 0, I'm going to carry another 1. I'm going to get 3. I'm going to make everything else a 0. So we've gone from 2,900 to 3,000. Okay? This one, I'm going to underline that 0 there. That's the hundreds column. The next number is a 6, so I add 1 to the 0. Becomes a 1. Everything after it becomes a 0. Everything before it stays the same. Alright, so nearest 1,000. We're going to count 4 from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's the thousands column underlined for us. The next number is a 5. So we add 1 to the underlined number. It becomes a 5. Everything after it becomes a 0. We're going to underline this column right here because that's where the thousands would be. The next number is a 4. So that tells us that our underlined number stays the same. So it's just going to be a big 0. If we wanted to round a number to 1,000, it would have to be between 500 and 1,499. Anything between 500 and 1,499, they would all round to 1,000. Okay. This one here, there's a 1 in the thousands column. The next number is a 4, so the 1 stays the same. 5 stays the same. Everything after the underlined digit becomes a 0. So we've gone from 51,400 to 51,000. Okay. Next thing, underline the 2. The number after is a 5. So that means we're going to add 1 to the 2. It's become a 3. The first 2, this stays the same. 0, 0, 0. Okay, underlining the 2. The next number is a 4. That means the 2 stays the same. The 1s stay the same. Everything after becomes zeros. Underline the 1. The next number is a 6. That means we add 1 to that 1 and we get 2. Copy the 4, copy the 3. 0, 0, 0. It should be noted here that all of our answers end in 3 zeros. Same as 1,000. 1,000 is this. So we're looking to make all our answers end in 0, 0, 0 unless it's just a single 0, which could happen, right? So a single 0 means it just rounds to 0. It means we have no thousands. This one we're saying this is closer to 51,000 than it is 52,000. This one's saying this is closer to 342,000 than it is 341,000. Okay? That's kind of how that works. Next thing's the 10th, and the 10th is the one to the right of the dot. So we underline it. We look to the next number. It's a 7. That means we add 1 to the thing we underlined. It becomes a 5. We copy the dot just like it was a number. Copy the 1. Now, we could put a 0 here, but we don't need to if it's after the decimal. In the case of money, you want to put a 0. So that's like $1.50. Okay? We're going to underline the 4 this time. The next 4 tells us that this 4 stays the same. Copy the dot, copy the 6. Let's turn this last thing into a 0. The only time I don't need a whole, I don't need that to go to a 0 is if it doesn't look like money, I'm not that worried about it. Okay, so go to our next thing here. Underline the 7. The next number is a 5. So that means I'm going to add 1 to the 7. It's going to become an 8. copy the dot, copy the 1, make that 5 into a 0. Okay, that 5 served its purpose. It told us what to do. Now it can go to 0 kind of thing. Okay? Next one. Underline the 9. Next number is a 2. So the 9 stays the same. Copy the dot, copy the 2. The last 2 there, we're going to make a 0. Underline the 9. This one's going to be a tricky one. The next number is a 6. It tells us to add 1 to the 9. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 to the 9. I'm going to put it right there like I'm just adding, okay? We get 1 plus 9 is 0. We're going to copy the dot. We're going to carry the 1. Sorry, 1 plus 9 is 10. So we put a 0, we carry a 1. That makes 6. So let's just leave that as 6.0. We can put another 0 so it looks like money, like $6, okay? Next one, underline the 3. Next number is a 6, tells us to add 1 to that 3, so it becomes a 4. Copy the other numbers, make that 6 into a 0. Okay. Hundredth and hundred sound almost the same. You got to look for that TH. Whenever there's a TH, it means it's after the decimal. So it's the second one after the dot. So 1, 2, we're right there. The next number here is a 6. It tells us we need to add 1 to this 9. So I'm going to add 1 to the 9. 1 and 9 is 10, so I put a 0. I carry a 1. Okay, so this is a very mechanical way of doing this, but we could have also said, well, 9 cents, we add 1 cent to that, it becomes 10 cents. Okay, so we could think of it in multiple ways here. I'm going to underline the 3. Next number is a 5. Means I add 1 to that 3. Becomes 4. Copy the 9. Copy the 3. Underline the 2. Look to the next number. It's a 9. So I add 1 to that 2. Becomes 3. Copy the 8. Copy the dot. Copy the 5. Underline the 4. The next number is a 7. So I add 1 to the 4. Becomes 5. 8. Just copy the 7, copy the 7. 7784 went to 7785. Underline the 8. Next number is a 5. That means I add 1. 9, 3, dot, 7. There's a lot of copying here, right? Underline this 9. We're going to do 2 carries here, because next number is a 6, so we add 1 to the 9. We get 10, put a 0. Carry a 1. We get 1 plus 9 is 10, so we put a 0. Put the dot. We carry that 1 to here. We get a 3, 3, 3, 9. Not the best choice of numbers there. I'm going to show you guys one more here. 9999.997. We underline the 9. We're going to still do the nearest hundredth. So, the next number is a 7. It tells us to add 1. Okay, so let's add 1. That becomes 1 and 9 is 10. So I put a 0, I carry the 1. 1 and 9 is 10, so I put a 0, I copy the dot, I carry that 1. I get 0, carry a 1, 0, carry a 1, 0, carry a 1, 0, carry a 1. So we went from 9,999.99 to 10,000. Okay? That's it.